Good evening, everyone. My name is Lina. I'm originally from Afghanistan. Tonight, I want to share my story, how I recently arrived to Australia, and how much it has meant to me to start my career here. I was born in a war-torn country, in a religiously conservative community, where women were taught to be inferior to men. However, I was lucky enough to grow up in an educated and open-minded family. Among our relatives, my father was the one who not only allowed but supported the education of his daughters, wife, and daughter-in-law. When Taliban took over the country for the first time, my parents decided to migrate to Pakistan. They managed to provide enough support for us to survive, go to school, and study. We returned to Afghanistan in 2002 after Taliban regime fell. Our family managed to resettle back in Kabul, continue education, find jobs, and have a relatively stable life. I was able to finish my secondary school and get admission into university. After earning my bachelor degree in science from Kabul University in late 2009, I started my career with my first job as an academic member at the Ministry of Education in the Curriculum Development Department. I got married and started a new independent life with my husband in 2010. After a year of marriage, I got the opportunity to participate in the highly competitive Australian Development Scholarship Program to get my master's degree in education field. This was an opportunity that could change my life and career significantly. I studied hard to win that unfair battle. Men were more encouraged to go abroad for further studies by their families. After working hard and winning a place for this scholarship, it was upsetting to see my husband's family circumstances changing, which means he wouldn't be accompanying me, and I have to take a decision. Thus, taking the decision to further my higher education became a huge challenge for me, one that contradicted our community and religion principle, for which women were not allowed to travel alone. Despite this dilemma, with support of my husband, I decided to choose the path that was right for my future. I traveled alone to Australia in 2012 and began my studies. I was determined to fight for women's rights in the country and prove that they can live independently and fulfill their ambitions. It seems that challenges never end in my life, as after only a month in Australia, I realized that I was pregnant. A blessing to think of our first child, but I could foresee the challenges that would lie ahead carrying on alone in Australia, particularly in the later stages of the pregnancy. I knew the value of the opportunity and so worked hard to maximize this chance. I could manage to keep up with the study until the birth of my daughter in December 2012. I named her Victoria after the state where she was born. My life changed dramatically after her birth. It was nearly impossible to continue my studies on a student visa, alone not able to afford childcare expenses. I had no choice but to take the hard decision to defer my studies and go back to Afghanistan. The plan being the suspension would be for only 1 year. Upon my return to Afghanistan, judgmental community started to show discrimination against my daughter, me, and my whole overall journey to Australia. It was a challenging period, particularly when the scholarship program was canceled, and consequently, my scholarship terminated before I had the chance to return and complete my studies. However, I never gave up. This is what my parents taught me, and I once again studied hard and applied for another scholarship program at the American University of Afghanistan, funded by USAID. This scholarship enabled me to complete my master's degree in business administration successfully in 2017, enabling me to change my career away from education to business. After graduation, I got the opportunity to join Nestlé as a sales operation executive. This kind of employment with a multinational company paved the way for my husband to further his own education at the same university and achieve the same degree. I was so proud watching his success and to support my family financially. Following his graduation, he secured an exciting new role, which meant that in 2018, I got the chance to leave Nestlé and pursue a career that I was more passionate about. A career where, once again, I could serve my community. I entered the humanitarian field and started working as a support service associate at the United Nations Office for Project Services, UNOPS. It was a lucky year as we welcomed our second child, a cute and chubby son named Amir Salam. Finally, both my husband and I were fulfilling our career ambitions. We became role model as a successful couple among the young community. With all the setbacks we had, we made it to inspire our community with our hard work and commitment to education. It was a happy time for our family, although sadly short-lived. In August 2021, the Taliban intensified their military activities in the countryside. Only in 1 week, they managed to capture major cities in the country and were heading toward the capital city of Afghanistan. Although the government assured the Taliban will not invade Kabul, but on 15 August, they took over Kabul without a single act of resistance. The news was so shocking and frightening that no one could believe it. However, that was the new reality of Afghanistan, to be handed over to the Taliban, notorious for their radical and dogmatic interpretation of the Islamic context. After our country had experienced 20 years of progress in human rights and democracy, it was a trauma for everyone, as no one wanted to go backward. The Afghan-Australian Alumni Association members, including me, who had previously studied in Australia, applied for a humanitarian visa. Fortunately, the members of the group got visas within a week, while there was one last military evacuation flight available to Australia. Unfortunately, due to the airport chaos, none of us were able to reach that flight, and we were left behind. The visa was valid for 3 months, and during this period, we were supposed to leave the country, which was the only hope, like a light at the end of the tunnel, that kept us motivated to survive. After 2 months of living in shadow and fear, we contacted the Australian Embassy in Pakistan for support, and they advised that they will support our evacuation only if we are able to reach Pakistan legally. We already had the required travel documents, including a visa to Pakistan, but the only problem was that there were no flights available. In mid-November, our window to leave the country was closing, as our visa was about to expire. We had only one option: to take the risk and go overland to Pakistan, through the Torkham border, where pretty much the same chaos was going on as what had happened at the airport during the initial evacuation. Crossing this land border was a hell on earth for families with children. People wait in the queue for 2 days and 2 nights in an open and freezing area in order to cross the border. Something that made us determined to survive during this risky journey was the future of our Victoria. I'm not going to describe those 2 nights that we spent at the border, probably the worst experience of our life that we will never forget. Finally, we managed to cross the border on the morning of the 3rd day, where a representative of the Australian Embassy in Pakistan was waiting for us. Afterward, the Australian Embassy arranged our evacuation to Australia within 2 weeks. Words cannot express our appreciation and gratitude for the support we received from the Australian Embassy and Australian government during this process. A new era of our lives started after resettling in Australia with the humanitarian support of the Australian government. A multicultural country full of diversity, hope, and peace, where our daughter would have access to her basic rights. We feel immensely thankful since the most important part of our life, the future of our children, is in good hands. Although we were safe and full of hope, our family was dealt a tragic blow only 2 weeks after arriving. Life dragged me to the lowest point when I got the news of the sudden death of my brother. I cried miserably for days, full of regret for leaving him and my father behind. Then I realized that moving forward is not a choice or option, but it is my responsibility to move on, as millions of women of my country do not have the chance to do so. I started the healing process by focusing on building our future and began exploring how to start my career. It might seem easy at first glance with the huge number of vacancies currently available. But as you begin to navigate the job market, you realize that yet another new challenge has just begun to struggle with. Lack of local experience, networks, and references made it impossible for me to restart my career in Australia. I kept searching to find out how to get a chance to enter the market. Then I heard about the CareerSeekers program through a friend. Shortly after registering with the CareerSeekers, one of the career advisors called, which was just like a hand from heaven that was extended to hold me and push me forward. They not only provided an internship opportunity, but a huge support throughout the recruitment process, providing the training and advice to achieve it successfully. The internship opportunity is with the Victorian Department of Families, Fairness and Housing. It is not only an opportunity to start my career, but also a hope, a healing, strength, and the reborn of a woman who has been going through the hardest times of her life. After my work with UNOPS in Afghanistan, I am excited to once again work for an organization providing support to the community. The department's focus on providing equal opportunities for all Victorians to live a safe, respected, and valued life, no matter of their background, is a purpose I deeply believe in. I would like to extend my appreciation to the department for offering this internship, through which I can share my experience, capabilities, and abilities and explore future career options in the Victorian public sector. I hope to pay off Australia for their support by becoming an active member of the community and raising my children in the best way possible, so in the future they can also play a constructive part in the community and contribute to the economy. I am excited for the future of my career and my family. There are many humanitarian entrants like me, with limited resources available, but skills and experience to offer, along with a determination to repay Australia for the safe haven that we have been provided. These individuals are desperately in search of internship opportunities and the support of empowering organizations like CareerSeekers. It is these kinds of opportunities that will lead them to life-changing improvements and enable them to start a new life, career, and raise children who will be the next generation to serve this country and all of the humanity. I sincerely appreciate your attention tonight. Thank you very much.